Hey everyone, welcome back to another Gears of War video. Today we are going to have a theory on the Locust. The theory will be, can the Locust actually come back? Now this is just a theory. What the developers do with their game is completely up to them. This is just for entertainment purposes. But without further ado, let's get started. Alright. Now, the theory about the Locust coming back is actually completely plausible. If you don't remember, there are still some Locusts in the Niles lab in Mount Kadar. They are in stasis tanks. Now, depending on what you think really the big theory is, if you don't remember, Kate says, let's not leave until we kill them all. Now, I don't know if she was meaning just in that general area where you fought the Locust in the first place, or if she meant every single one of them in the lab. Okay, now, the whole thing about the Locust coming back sounds ridiculous at first, mostly because if you don't remember, Locusts reproduce by breeding, obviously, and but the whole time we play, well, we only see male Locust. But if you go right before where the matriarch is, where Nile hooks up Kate to the machine, if you slowly make your way and look at the frozen Locusts, you can actually see some of the frozen Locusts were just about to break some stasis tanks. And if you take a closer look, those stasis tanks actually contain berserkers. Yes, if you look closely, the big old beefy hand has chains on them. Something that we all know is right from the beginning, the chains that are used to heal back a berserker. And, well, if you think about it, the Locusts did make it out in the first place. They, whenever they broke out of the lab, tons of them did get out. They weren't just the lucky ones, but if you don't remember, Queen Mira didn't get a lot of them out, and that's what they were in the process of doing whenever the Niles froze the lab. Now, the question is whether if those that broke out of the lab were the only ones, because if you look closely, the cog is already in the lab. Well, killing all the Locusts that are either getting out or about to get out. And the question remains if Mira actually broke out of the lab before and then she came back for whoever was left behind, or if they were in the process and there was maybe another exit that they went out from and some of them stayed back to hold out the cog to let the others escape. But either way, the Locusts actually can come back. Not just because of the berserkers, because I know what you might be thinking. What if, the berserkers will never get broken out of their stasis thing, they'll always be left there, and nobody will be there to break them out. But if you don't remember, the sires are actually left there, years, and they're still alive. And who knows how long the Locusts have been there, but the whole thing about them immediately breaking out and being able to wield weapons is a big concern. Because let's say, I don't know, if you remember, there's tons of ice there. If an icicle, I don't know, breaks from the ceiling, comes down and breaks open the stasis pods, the Locusts are free. And if you're thinking of, oh, the stasis pods were underground, remember Niles activated them and they came out and then they broke out. Now there is besides the first specimen, as I recall them calling it, there is a wall full of locusts there. And it does look pretty hefty, but the whole thing about them being able to break out easily after they're awaking kind of shows that glass is not, extremely durable. Okay, let's, scenarios aside. Let's say that Kate did kill all the locusts, she actually won't be able to, well, she and Dale wouldn't be able to kill off the berserkers unless they use Jag to, I don't know, kill everything in the tanks. I guess that is a possibility. But the whole thing, we never actually get a mention of that or see them doing that, or, at least get some kind of clue that they did that. Really doesn't post a big concern for me. Oh, now that out of the way. Remember, the swarm were actually making their way up the mountain as well. That's what the whole level is about. Us going to see, what's up there. And if you don't recall, Kate does say, what's the swarm doing out here? It's either Kate or Dale, but one of them responds with, that's their place of origins or something like that. Maybe they're attracted to it. Now, remember, the swarm isn't completely swarm. The scions are, old locusts that have awakened. And, well, unless those locusts are sterile, I'm sure their genes aren't changed that much that, well, they can, produce more locusts. Let's say they break into a lab somehow. It does look secure, but remember where the locusts were held, where you fight the matriarch? That place seems pretty open. And if there is a back exit where some of the locusts escaped, well, then that gives a, bigger possibility of them easily finding a way in. Now, the whole thing about the berserkers, if the scions do, I guess, are able to reproduce with the berserkers, well, the question is, would they produce locust or swarm, or would they actually set the locusts that are still in the stasis pods free and let the locusts reproduce again, and that way they might have two armies fighting the humans? That would be, I guess, really terrible for the humans, but that is not the only way the locusts could come back. If you don't remember, when you release the matriarch, she breaks through some stasis tanks. And since I told you that those stasis tanks contain what it appears to be berserkers, well, the question is, did the matriarch set free the berserkers and they became roaming around? I mean, we don't see them, but I highly doubt that those two stasis tanks that the matriarch broke would not contain any form of locust in there. Also, the berserkers and the matriarch did seem to, I guess, not really be that intelligent. Remember, they were, I guess, half blind and they'd break through things. And if the matriarch broke through those stasis tanks, the question remains, were those berserkers? And if they were, where did they go? And if you don't remember, while Kate was in, I guess, the matriarch's mind, she did seem to have some form of intelligence. Not a bunch, but just a smidge to know what, she walked up to Kate and tricked her and acted all nice. The question remains if the other berserkers are the same way, or are they just all, wild and savage. If they are all wild and savage, there is a small chance and possibility that they would set free other locusts, just to make the locust army for their own benefit. But if they just rampage like the matriarch did and did break some stasis tanks, well, those tanks might either let loose of the sires, which are totally sterile, or the locusts. Now, we also have to think if the matriarch killed the other berserkers. I mean, she was, looked like 10 times bigger than them. And in the matriarch system, sometimes, there is only one female and there cannot be any more, and she might have killed them all. Or the other females aren't allowed to reproduce, that kind of thing. But considering that the matriarch is gone, would the other berserkers, become matriarchs, or would they just roam around and eventually freeze to death if the matriarch didn't kill them to begin with? But these are just my thoughts, that it is possible. Obviously, we have all the evidence here that it is extremely possible for the Locust to come back, but it is all up to the developers and what they decide to do with the story. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below if you think they should come back or they should just be gone, never come back at all. I will see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. See you guys later.